Hi, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to introduce you to Microsoft Excel, a spreadsheet application. If you're familiar with Microsoft Word, then the interface for Microsoft Excel is not too drastic. Instead of a blank white document, which is one page out of many pages you might make, now we have a blank white spreadsheet, which is one out of many spreadsheets. And the way you need to think of a spreadsheet, instead of really multiple pages, I want you to kind of imagine just a super large worksheet, okay? So, just really big, and we're only working in a very tiny corner, okay? So if I were to zoom out, I start to see, wow, this is where I am right up here in this top left corner, and if I keep on zooming out, all we're really working with is this one area in the top left corner. Now if we had lots of data, we could go down row after row. There's thousands and thousands of rows, and there's thousands of columns. So we'll just be working in this one tiny little corner up here of this worksheet. And a worksheet is identified with columns, which are labeled with letters. So we have column letters, and then of course we have row numbers. Where a column and row intersects, you have a cell. Okay, so right now I've clicked on cell B4, and I know that because I can see the active cell marker, which is that bold black border, and I can see that I'm in column B, row 4, hence this is cell B4. I also see that up in the name box right up here. Say I'm in cell B4 versus C4 versus C7. So that's a cell name or a cell reference. If you select a range of cells, which you can do, the cell range is described by the top left corner cell and the bottom right corner cell. So this is the range B3 through D7, B3, D7. If I were to select one column, it's still the same basic concept. This is C2 through C10. B4 through E4. And a cell can contain one of several things. It can contain numbers, it can contain text, or it can contain formulas or calculations. So let me give you a quick rundown on that. So I can certainly put in some text, press my tab key, goes over to the next cell. I can put in some numbers like 500, press my tab key, and I can also put in a formula like equals 5 plus 3, and then I press enter, and the cell displays the result. Notice that text in a cell is automatically aligned to the left. Numbers in a cell are automatically aligned to a right, and the results of formulas are also aligned to the right. So in my cell D2, I have a formula, and I can see it up in the formula bar. I wrote in equals 5 plus 3. Excel displays the result, 8. I can also double click on that cell and go into edit mode, and instead of 5 plus 3, I could put in a cell reference like C2. So C2 plus 3, and when I press enter, I get the result. The value of cell C2 plus 3, in this case 503. And if I change the value of C2 from 500 to 100, that's going to change the result of that formula. That formula is referencing a cell, and if that cell value changes, then the formula will certainly update. So those are the three basic things you can put in cells: text, numbers, and calculations. Go ahead and select those and delete. Alright, so navigating around a worksheet is pretty easy. I just click on the cell that I want to work on, and I just start typing away, whether it's text or numbers or formulas. I can select ranges of cells, and I can select entire columns by clicking on a column letter, or an entire row by clicking on a row number. And to really start to practice, I think I'm going to create a little basic worksheet here. I'm going to start off up in the column here. I'm going to put in some days of the week. So I'm going to go ahead and type in, I'll start with Monday, and just press my tab key. Now I don't want to type in every single day of the week. Instead, I want to use the fill handle, or the autofill feature. So I'm going to click on a cell that contains the word Monday, and I'm going to go to the lower right corner, which is the fill handle. Okay, lower right corner of the active cell marker, and I'm going to click and drag to the right. And notice there's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. When I let go of the mouse, it'll insert those days for me. So if you're typing in something that is part of a series, like days of the week or months of the year, times of the day, or some numbers, Excel will try to help you out by completing that series for you. So that's the fill handle, lower right corner of the active cell marker. Okay. And then I would like to put some movie titles going down, but I didn't really do this the way I want to, so I have a couple options. I would like to shift all of these days of the week over one. And there's a couple ways I could do this. I could select all of these cells, put my cursor on the border of a selected range. See, I get that little four-way arrow there, and I could click and drag to the right and then let go. And that moves all the contents of my cell over. So that's one way to do it. Let me Control Z, undo that. I could also Control X to cut, and then I can just click on this beginning cell, B1, Control V to paste. That shifts everything over. So cut and paste. Let me Control Z again. I can also click on column A, right click on column A, and I can choose Insert. And that'll basically insert a new column, and it shifts everything over to the right. So a number of ways to do that kind of stuff. And let's see, I think I will just type in some movie titles, but I'll put in fake titles. So I'll just put in movie title 1. Oh, I can do it here too. So I have some text with a number at the end. Let's see if Excel will finish the series. There we go. So now I have 4 movie titles. Now you'll notice that my movie titles are spilling over from column A into column B. Once again, pretty easy fix. I can put my cursor in between the column A and B column headings, and notice I get a little double arrow, a sizer. Well, I can click and drag that left and right, and I can size that column so that column A is wider and accommodates the text. Or I can double click between those 2 column letters and it'll auto fit that column. So that's pretty easy. So I can click and drag, or I can double click. And you'll notice I get the little measurement on there too, so I can kind of be very precise if I wanted to. Now I can also right click on column A, and there's a column width dialog box where I can enter a value in there. I don't use that as often though. Okay, now I want to put in some data here, and I just want to put a bunch of numbers in these cells, so I'm going to basically use a function to enter some numbers in for me so I don't have to type them all out. So I'm going to go ahead and select my range of cells where I want to put numbers. I'm going to use a function called randBetween. So randBetween is the name of the function. And a function is simply a shorthand formula. Basically, it helps me out by doing all the complicated math for me. So I'm going to use the randBetween function, and it asks me for 2 pieces of information, the bottom limit and the top limit of the random numbers I want. And I want my smallest random number to be 100. Then I type a comma, and I want my upper limit or my top limit random number to be 500. And I'm just going to do a closing parentheses. Oops. There we go. Closing parentheses, and I'll press enter. So the random number that it did for me first was 123. And if I want to put random numbers in all of these cells, I can autofill down, and then I can select autofill handle, the fill handle there, lower right corner, drag that across. Now I have random numbers in all of these cells. Now to lock them in so that they don't keep re-randomizing, because check this out, if I keep dragging this down, they're going to keep re-randomizing, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of irritating. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these cells, Control C to copy, and then I'm going to go to Paste Special, which is over here on my home ribbon lower part, and I want to paste the values. Okay, so I'm just going to jump down here, paste values. There we go. And now I can press Escape to deselect that. And now I just have these values locked in. So I've got some random data. Now since my numbers are automatically aligned to the right, I would like my days of the week labels to also do that. So I'm going to go ahead and select those days of the week. Notice I'm just selecting the cells that contain the days of the week, not actually the columns. And I will choose my alignment to the right. Going a little slow. There we go. So now my days of the week are lined up over to the left. I'm sorry, to the right. And just so they stand out a little bit, I want to do some formatting. I'm going to go ahead and select all of the cells in my first row here, so A1 through G1. I'm going to hold down my Control key, and I'm going to select the cells in A2 through A6, let go of the mouse, let go of the Control key, and I'm going to change the fill color or background color of the cells, and I'll change it over to a light blue. And then for the cells containing numbers, I'll change that fill color to a light green. And then I'll select all of the cells, and I'll go to my border button here, and there's a bunch of border choices, but I'm going to choose all borders. So now there's borders on everything. Excellent. And I'll select days of the week again. I'll just make those bold. Now, as soon as I did that, I kind of ran out of room. So I'd like to resize these columns again. Once again, I have a couple choices here. I could select, so my problem column is this Wednesday. I could select that column by clicking on the D, double-clicking right to the in between the D and the E, double-click, and that'll auto-size. But I kind of like my columns to be of equal widths. So in order to set the columns equally, I'm going to click and drag column B through column G. So I've selected all of those columns, all 6 of those columns there. And looks like I didn't fill out to Sunday, so yeah, I've only got 6 days of the week. That's all right, we're closed on Sunday. And now that I've got all of these columns selected, I can put my cursor in between any 2 column headings that are selected, and I can click and drag. And when I let go of my resizing, it's going to size all of those columns equally. Now I'd like this all to fit, and I don't want to, I could zoom out certainly, so kind of shows there. But I could also make these look smaller too. What if I did something like this? Let me, instead of Monday, I'll type in Mun. And I can autofill this to the right, click and drag, and look at that, it's going to do each week, or each day of the week is 3 days only. And now that I've done that, I can select these columns again, and then I can resize them a little smaller so that they all kind of fit in there. So that's kind of neat. Alright, now I've got some basic data. So I think I'm going to stop here, and in the next video we'll pick up with a few more basic features in Excel.